And a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Tingha Sports Ground for this afternoon's major semi-finals in the Northwest League competition. The semi-final and reserve grade is underway. The match between Bingra in the gold and blue and the Ashford side, of course, the minor premiers in this reserve grade, are in the traditional colours of the Eastern Suburbs Club, of course, the red, white and blue. The game is just underway. Ashford was in possession in the opening 5 tackles. They put the ball deep into Bingra territory. Now Bingra had the job of running it out. We'll see a scrum pack down there, will we? Knock on by a Bingra player. Let's run through the teams quickly for you. The Ashford side will be represented by Derek Clark at fullback. The wingers Ian Gerard and Carl Gerard. The centres are Robert Burney and David Lewis. The 5/8 Michael Burney. The half-back is Greg Burney. The lock is Tom Norton. Second rowers Mick Pintis and John Smith. The props are Les Miller and Gordon Burney, and the hooker is Russell Gerard. The Bingra team, the fullback is Charlie Wilson. The wingers John McLaughlin and Sean Vines. The centres Wayne Rampling and Dick Wilkerson. The 5/8 Mick Wilson. The half is Peter Fletcher. The lock is David Goodwin. The second row is Wayne Wilkins and Mick Hayes. The props are Clive Wilkerson and David Childs, and the hooker is Jeff Boyle. So, in possession of the ball at the moment is Bingra. After that scrum win, just a couple of metres on the Ashford side of halfway. Ball's played. It goes back to Childs, the prop forward. He runs into ruck, runs into Gordon Burney with the assistance of another player. It's Pinnis, the second rower, and down he goes a few metres inside Ashford territory. Ball's played. Dummy, it goes out to the player, the prop forward it is, number 11, and that's Wilkerson, and he's down. It's played. Ball comes out. Fletcher gets a pass away to Wilson, then a short pass to Rampling, the captain, but he runs into trouble, runs into his opposite number. That's Lewis, and Lewis knocks him over midway half and quarter on the Ashford side of the field. 5th tackle too, as these two teams are vying for the right to be first into the grand final, and the tackle on the prop forward Wilkerson affected midway between the half and quarter, and scrum will pack down. Ashford, of course, as I said, only beaten a couple of times this year, and they're looking very much a good side. And the only side that I really think will trouble the Ashford team this year is the Bandara side, which is a side that plays much the same sort of football. From the scrum win, Bingra's ball passed out to Rampling, the centre. He looks for support, gets to Wilson, the fullback, up out of his position, and he's brought down 13 metres into Ashford territory. Wilson plays it, Rampling at dummy half, fires it away to the second rower. That's Wayne Wilkins, and he's knocked over, still about 42 metres away from the Ashford line. Running from dummy half is Hayes, the second rower, gets out of one tackle, gets out of Gerard, gets a short pass away to the 5/8 pass, goes back inside to the winger on the far side, flying down on the overhead pass, so it's taken by an Ashford player a few metres out from his own line. That's Miller, the prop forward, and the day save there for the Ashford side. Ball played. Gordon Burney it is, runs from dummy half and runs straight into Childs, gets out of Childs' tackle, gets out of the lock's tackle, makes a good 5 or 6 metres extra before he's brought down about 18 metres away from the Ashford line. Gordon Burney, the prop, plays it. It's played, comes out now to Pinnis, the second row, and he's bowled over 20 metres away from the Ashford line. Being looking good in the opening few minutes of the game, but now Ashford have the job of rucking it out. Comes out to Greg Burney. He decides to run, tries to step in the sand, but he loses his footing and is an easy target for Wilson, the 5/8 for the Bingra side. So it's played. Comes back on to the 5/8 who puts the kick in, Michael Burney. It's going down towards the winger, but it goes over the touchline. Good kick by Burney. Voyans on the far side was waiting for the ball, but it bounced in front of him over the touchline. The scrum packs midway half and quarter on the far side of the field. Quite a good crowd in attendance for the first game here. It's building up certainly to a big crowd, and already the cars are being forced to park outside, no room in the ground. As ball comes out, they got the overlap, Ashford, they use it. It's Robert Burney tries to stand up his top number. He got too much pace for the centre. He's flying downfield, looking for support. Sends a pass to Michael Burney, the 5/8. He's on his way to score. They've been chased by McLaughlin, but Burney's going to score. No, he's collared about 4 metres short of the line. And 4 metres short, he'll play it. That's Burney, the 5/8 that's played. Running from dummy half, who is it to try and pick it up? It could be the fullback Clark, and Clark's still up 2 metres short. Good run there by Robert Burney. Ball's played, diving through from dummy half. Is it Ashford player? No, still a couple of metres short. The Ashford team thought he had scored. Clark at dummy half, ready to take this ball. Kicks it forward, but a silly bit of work there by the Ashford player. That was Norton, the lock forward. He tapped it forward and really didn't let go of the ball, which he's supposed to do. So the penalty goes to Bingra, right next to the uprights. That's a situation save. Michael Burney, the 5/8, just didn't have the pace to go on with that. Tap taken by Bingra. It's fullback Wilson as he comes to the blind side and gets away from a couple of players. Gets to Burney. Burney grabs him and drops him to about 17 metres away from the Bingra line. Wilson, the fullback, gets up and plays it. Ball comes out to Childs. Childs, the dummy half, runs himself into the ruck, but it's bowled over by Gerard, the hooker, with the assistance of another player, was prop forward Lewis. Running now across field is another player. Hard to pick him up, could have been the second row. Wilkins it was. Dummy half finds its way to Fletcher. He looks for Wilson, the 5'8". Wilson takes it now, but runs into trouble. The defence quickly up on him. Russell Gerard, the hooker there, with the assistance of also the 5'8" Boney. Ball played. Nobody wants it as finally the hooker is Boyle runs, but he's bowled over about 20 metres out from the Bingra line on the 5th tackle. Bingra have gone really nowhere. Wilson, the fullback up, takes the kick and kicks for touch, but waiting for the ball is the fullback Clark. Oh, knocked on. Can't see the ball. Taken by the winger behind him, but the referee rules the scrum for the knock on. Ian Gerard it was who picked that ball up, but Clark really took it very, very casually, went straight through his arms, and then he appeared not to be interested in chasing the ball. So the scrum's packing down. Ball's in, it's coming out Ashford side as it goes to the 5'8" Michael Boney. Goes back around the scrum base, but he's followed around by his opposite number Wilson and brought down 12 metres inside Ashford territory. A dummy half, it's the hooker, is it? Yes, Russell Gerard runs into trouble 5 metres into Ashford territory. Knocked over there by Wayne Wilkins and also the centre Wilkerson. Knocked on a dummy half. Referee says play on as Gordon Boney, the prop. Dummy's back inside, but he runs into the defence and is held up a few metres short of halfway. I don't know why they're not using the back line, Ashford. It's the second row. Smith is brought down now. He won the best and fairest in the reserve grade for the Ashford side this season. Ball goes to Boney, wasn't expecting it. Gordon, it goes to Greg Boney, then it goes out through another couple of hands. The centre, short pass away to Robert Boney, loses the ball, knocked on by a Bingra player. It could be Vines. It is the winger on the far side who's come into the centres. And the scrum will pack down about 29, probably 30 metres out from the Ashford line. Ashford then using their forwards, but really their backs are the match winners, as Robert Boney showed plenty of pace. Ball in it, coming out Bingra side, missed by a player. Now already we see a replacement coming on for the Bingra side, the prop forward leaving the field. That's Clive Wilkerson's off. And let's see who's the player taking his spot. It's Mark Lanigan. In fact, Mark Lanigan, the replacement player for the Bingra team. He'll go into the lock forward position. Ball's in, it's coming out Ashford side, dived on by Greg Boney at the scrum base, and he's asked to play out 30 metres out, running from dummy half. The lock forward Norton can't get away from a tackle from Fletcher, and Fletcher with the assistance of the lock forward there for the Bingra side. Goodman bring him down. Pass goes away to Pinners, the hard running second row, and he runs into a tough tackle from Childs, and he's down about 6 metres inside Ashford territory. That's played. Ball comes out to, who is it? Russell Gerard. Short pass back inside to the second row. Smith back to Russell Gerard. Then it goes to Gordon Boney, keeping the ball live. Short pass to Michael Boney, then to Robert Boney. They got the overlap, but Boney puts the kick in. It's being chased through, picked up well by the centre, flying downfield. That's Robert Boney looking for support. Throws it back inside to Clark. Knocked on by that player and finally regains, but the scrum will pack down about 20 metres away from the Bingra line. These Boneys and Gerards, once they get moving, they're very, very hard to foot, and Bingra finding that they're having the dickens of a trouble at the moment. With Ashford moving that ball around, they're looking very good indeed when they move it out to the back line. Ball's gone in, it's coming out Ashford side. Boney at the scrum base. The referee's got halfback Peter Fletcher for being offside. He was quickly around on the Ashford halfback. The referee's penalised him, so penalty goes to Ashford just on the quarter. Kick for touch taken by the centre. It could have been Lewis. And the second tap to be taken by Russell Gerard. Takes the tap, feeds it past to Gordon Boney. He acts as a pivot now, goes it back inside to Norton. Norton was running at half pace and was easy meat for the Bingra defence, and he's down 15 metres from Bingra's line. Dummy half, ball spied away to Gordon Boney. Mishandles, goes back, referee sees play on as he goes back into the ruck and makes 5 metres before he's knocked over and a tackle by Childs. About 12 metres out from Bingra's line. It's played Russell Gerard, gives it a pass to the second row of Pinners, shrugs out of one tackle, out of Childs' tackle, and makes another few yards before he's down, this time about 7 yards from Bingra's line. So they're making ground through the forwards, Ashford. Now it'll come back. So it comes to Greg Boney, Michael Boney. Then it comes to Lewis. Lewis stands, dummies, running across field, but Wayne Rampling's got him wrapped up and brings him down 20 metres in front of the uprights from Bingra's line. They'll work the blind side, Ashford, as it comes to Michael Boney. Steps off 1 foot there. Dummies one player, still going. Sends a long pass out to the winger, flying down the touchline, but the referee's got him for a forward pass. Carl Gerard was on his way, but the referee's calling back for a forward pass. And the referee has given a penalty to Bingra, about 20 metres out from Bingra's line, on this side of the field. Well, that looked curtains again, but certainly in possession, Ashford have looked much better. And now it's the fullback Derek Clark who's taken the ball as Bingra failed a fine touch. Runs around McLaughlin as if he wasn't there. Runs around another player. Gets to Vines, and Vines almost grabs him with the assistance of the McLaughlin who came again. So Clark plays it. It's given to Gordon Boney. Gordon feeds the pass out to Gerard the hooker. He tries to step around Goodwin. Does. Goes straight through almost and is collared finally 24 metres out from Bingra's line. But Ashford now is starting to wreak a bit of havoc on this Bingra defence. There goes Michael Boney. Decides to step. He steps into Childs and Childs wraps him up right on the corner with the assistance of another player. It could have been Hayes, second rower. Ball played, it comes out to who is it? Gerard gives a pass away to Lewis and a short pass to Greg Boney standing wide, puts it to a kick through. They're racing through after this. The fullback Wilson coming across, takes it well, Charlie Wilson, and there's nobody in front of him, flies upfield over the corner, he's knocked over in a tackle, gets out of one tackle, but the prop forward come across, that's Miller, and they bring Wilson down midway half and quarter. So defence turned into attack on Bingra's part as the ball comes back to the prop, the hooker, Boyle, and Boyle takes it round his knees before he's held up 13 metres short of halfway. Pass goes away to Hayes, steps inside a tackle from Pinners, but runs into a nice tackle from halfback Greg Boney, but he's made a few yards. He's down a couple of metres short of halfway. It's played, given away to Childs, the prop forward, running across field, tries to shrug off Gordon Boney's tackle, but he won't. And Boney bulldogs him into the ground. A few metres short of halfway, running from dummy half is Lanigan, the replacement player. Gordon Boney's got his Guernsey though, and he's forced to play it right on halfway. That's the fifth tackle. Ball comes back to Wilkins, the second rower, runs, and negative play from the Bingra team. Scrum will pack down a few metres into Ashford territory. This video being brought to you with the compliments of Bill McCutcheon at the Commercial Hotel at Ashford. We'll be telling you about Bill's hotel during the video today. Ball will be fed in by Boney. It's seen. It's coming out Ashford side. Dived on by Boney. Fires it away to Michael Boney, the 5'8". He tries to get away from Wilson, but he can't. And Goodwin comes across in cover just to make sure. Michael Boney plays it. It's played, running it from dummy half is Norton, the lock, but he runs into problems in the shape of Lanigan, the replacement player. A few metres short of halfway. Comes out to Pinners. He's the hard-running second rower, but he runs straight into Childs, and Childs has got his number. A few metres short of halfway still. So, not having it all their own way in the forwards, Ashford. It comes back to Smith. Smith steps over halfway, goes by a metre before he runs into Hayes, and the prop forward Childs has got through a lot of tackling so far. A dummy half, Miller says, who wants it? Greg Boney says, I'll take it. Now he runs into the centre of the ruck. And the old pace isn't there for Greg Boney, and he's down still a few metres inside Bingra territory as Childs is on the ground injured. Gordon Boney decides to run after actually pretending to kick, and he's down a few metres, 8 metres in fact, into Bingra's territory. That's where the scrum will pack. But the sixth tackle, 0-0 in this game. We've had probably all 15 minutes of play so far. Balls to be fed in by halfback Fletcher. It's in, it's come out Ashford side. It's Greg Boney to Michael Boney, then to the centre Lewis. Sets up Robert Boney. Robert Boney tries to go through it. Throws a pass to Lewis, who wasn't there expecting it. Going back for the ball is the winger on this side. That's Ian Gerard, is it? Carl Gerard throws a pass to Clark, but he can't handle. Goes back to the hooker, Russell Gerard. Goes over his head. The referee says play on us. It looked like a knock on from here, but he's brought down 13 metres inside Ashford territory. Well, the flare can come undone as it did then. The ball comes out to, who is it, Smith, the second row. He runs back into the ruck and runs into Goodwin with the assistance of Lanigan. They bring him down 5 metres in Ashford's territory. The Ashford crowd venting their disgust on the Ashford team at the moment as they're not putting it together. Gerard is down a few metres short of halfway. That's Russell Gerard, the hooker. Gerard plays it. Pass comes out to Gordon Boney, then a pass to Greg Boney. He decides to step and tries to step around the halfback Fletcher, but he can't. He's down still a few metres inside Ashford's territory. Gordon Boney at dummy half gives it away to Michael Boney. He puts a little kick through. Here's dangerous. Robert Boney's firing through, but it runs straight into Mick Wilson's hand, the fullback. Gets out of Boney's tackle. Now tries to step around Gerard. Gerard's got him though. Wilson standing. Gets out of Gerard's tackle, but the Pinnis and Robert Boney were there to bring him down. A few metres inside Bingra territory. Running from dummy half is the replacement player Lanigan. Runs straight over the top of Robert Boney. Michael Boney, but he's picked up by Gordon Boney with the assistance of Smith. Dummy half Hayes fires it to Wilson, then to Rampling, the captain, tries to push off one tackle, Gerard, but Gerard comes again with the assistance of Pinnis and Smith. Into Ashford territory there goes the Bingra Bullets as Hayes, the second rower, runs, and he runs straight through one tackle, but they got him, the big fellow. They drop him midway half and quarter in Ashford's territory still. Hayes plays it, it comes back to Fletcher, the half, looking for support, gets a pass away to Lanigan. Lanigan goes back into the forwards, makes good ground too, and he gets to the corner before they hold him up. That's Norton, and with the assistance of the 5'8" that's Michael Boney. Fifth tackle on the Bingra side is there. The first time really they've had a concentrated attack in Ashford territory. Short pass, no, Wilson dummies, sends a long pass out to the centre, intercepted by Robert Boney, and Boney in possession for Ashford. A few metres into the quarter on their own side of the field. Now pass comes out to the prop forward, Miller, and Miller tries to shrug off a tackle, but he runs into a nice tackle from McLaughlin just a few metres over the quarter. Could have hurt the prop forward too. At Carl Gerard it is. Now looks for support, gives it to Gordon Boney, and Boney runs into the ruck and is bowled over. Now Stands allowed to get the ball away, gives it to Norton, and Norton looking to set up play, but he runs back into the ruck and is bowled over by the prop forward. It's David Giles, 13 metres into Ashford territory. There's Michael Boney looking for the kick in general play. It's gone over the centre's head and the far side. It's found touch too over the Dick Wilkinson's head. So the scrum will pack for the kick by Michael Boney. The scrum will pack about 42 metres away from the Bingra line. No score in this game as yet. No score in the game yet. Waiting for the ball to be put in the scrum. Quite a good crowd gathered here already at Tingha. Conditions starting to get a little bit cool, although it's a sunny day, but the wind is rather cool, blowing from the west. Certainly we're glad it's not as gusty as it was yesterday. It was a miserable day yesterday. From the scrum win, it's come out to, who is it, Bingra, is it? Yes, Fletcher it is, the halfback dives on it. Now running from dummy half is Wilkinson, the centre, who ran on as the centre, but is now on the wing on the far side of the field. And he's brought down 10 metres inside Bingra's territory. It's passed away, Fletcher, short pass away to, could be Lanigan, the replacement player. Plenty of work since he's come on. Gets a short pass to Goodwin, and the lock forwards down. Still a few metres inside the Bullets' territory. They're working it through the forwards, Bingra, but now it's starting to move back line, and Mick Wilson doesn't know which way to move. Then he decides to run himself, and Michael Boney drops him a few metres still inside Bingra territory. From dummy half, it comes to Wilkins, the second rower. He's running across field. If he gets the ball away, there could be a bit of ground moved, grain, but he's brought down 10 metres inside Ashford territory. That's the fifth tackle. What will they do? Fletcher gives it away to Wilson, then it goes to Rampling. He gives a short pass to Lanigan, running wide, and Lanigan's picked up well by Gordon Boney. A fine tackle by that player. 13 metres inside Ashford territory. That's where the scrum will pack down. So 0-0 in this game. Ashford finished as minor premiers. Bingra finished in second place in the competition. And the winner of this goes straight to the grand final. The loser will play the winner of the match tomorrow between Tingha and Bandara. Ball's in, it's coming out his side. It's picked up by halfback Fletcher, but Gordon Boney broke quickly from the scrum and holds on to Fletcher. And he's held up midway between the half and quarter. It's played running from dummy half as second row. Mick Hayes gets out of Gerard's tackle, but runs into the prop forward Miller. And he's down 32 metres away from the Ashford line. There's Mick Wilson trying to instill some confidence into the team. He's almost gone straight through, but only luckily Norton grabbed his collar. The ball goes away to McLaughlin, and McLaughlin's run around. Carl Gerard coming back infield, gets a short pass to Vines. Vines' tackle though taken there, pushed back and tackle as a matter of fact, and he's 10 yards out from the Ashford line. Taken by Robert Boney. Ball's played, it goes to Rampling. A pass goes away to Fletcher. Back inside, a pass goes to Hayes, the second row, and he's almost broken them. Held up a couple of yards short. Taken into the tackle there by Norton. Played, ball goes to Fletcher. Then it goes to Rampling, the centre, but he runs into trouble. Michael Boney and another player there. Miller, the prop forward, hold him up a few metres short of Ashford's line. Rampling will play at Fletcher at dummy half. Pass to Wilson, and a long pass. If they move it, they'll score, but as Boyle it is, wrapped up the hooker. Can't get the ball away. As the winger on the far side, it's Wilkinson, was unmarked. But De Boyle couldn't move the ball, and the scrum will pack down about 5 metres away from the Ashford line. 0-0 in this game as the scrum packs down. Ball fed in by Ashford. It's coming out. Well, it was coming out Bingra's side, but the referee wants it back in again. Greg Boney, the half for Ashford, will feed this ball in. Ball's in, it's coming out, nobody's side. Referee wants it back in again. It's in this time. Whose ball is it? Looks like an Ashford ball as we see the halfback Fletcher for Bingra knocking him over, but the referee's got Bingra for raking the ball, apparently. That's the signal given by referee Jones. The penalty goes to Ashford, just outside their try line. So Senna Lewis it is, who'll take the relieving kick, David Lewis. Got a nice boot on him too, finds touch just inside Ashford's quarter. So the score in this major semi-final in reserve grade, still 0-0. We see the wing on the far side, passing it back to Miller, the prop forward, and he runs straight into trouble in the shape of Lanigan. He's a strong player, this Lanigan, done a lot of work since he come on to replace the prop forward Wilkinson. Now the ball goes back to Smith, the second round. Smith is down midway between the half and quarter, still in the Ashford territory. Ashford works the blind now as Carl Gerard gets the pass away to the second row of Pinnis, and Pinnis runs hard, but he runs straight into Giles. I think Giles has tackled Pinnis every time he's touched the ball today, and he's down 5-6 metres inside Ashford territory. Lost the ball. The referee wants the scrum to pack for the knock-on. Well, the game started off at a pretty fast rate, but it slowed down somewhat after Ashford made a couple of breaks that almost resulted in tries, but only a good defence by Bingra at the end saved the tries. It's an Ashford ball, but the referee wants it back in again. Scrum packing 5 metres inside the Ashford territory. This time it's a Bingra ball, but Greg Boney, you had to be offside a mile. They come out Bingra's end. Greg Boney dived on it. And The referee penalised Boney, and a penalty goes to Bingra a few metres inside Ashford territory. Kick by Wilson doesn't find a lot of territory, but the second tap will be taken 45 metres away from the Ashford line. Tap to be taken. Tap given. Wayne Rampling, the captain, stands as the pivot now. Gets it back to Goodwin, the lock forward, but he runs straight into Gordon Boney and is down. About 30 metres out from the Ashford line. Ball coming back, running across field as Wilkins, but he tries to straighten up, but he can't, as he's knocked over by the hooker Gerard. It's played, comes back, no, it's played to, who is it, the hooker Boyle, and Boyle's knocked over right on the quarter for the Bingra side. Not much constructive play by the Bingra side as it comes this time to Wilson. Then it goes to Charlie Wilson, the fullback, up the back line, and he's held up on the quarter by Michael Boney and also Smith, the second rower. Now Charlie Wilson runs from dummy half, fires it out to Vines. He dummies to McLaughlin, now held up, gets a short pass to Wilson, who trail him around, gets away from Gerard's poor tackle, throws a pass back inside to McLaughlin, but he's hit, no, gets out of a tackle from Smith. Still going, knocked over by Pinnis, and another player there, it was the winger Gerard who trailing through. On the fifth tackle, they're moving the ball, Bingra. They want to move it too because Charlie Wilson, the fullback, a long pass out to the wing on this side. Oh, he's dropped the ball, the winger. That's Wilkinson. And Ashford ball on the far side of the field. Well, he was almost around a tackle, was doubtful whether he would have scored. Ashford back in possession, about 5 metres out from their own line. Running from dummy half, who is it? Could be Gerard, and Gerard's down, made about a metre before he's taken in a tackle by Goodwin. Ball played running from dummy half, Gordon Boney. He's made a good 10-12 yards before he's, gets out of a tackle, gets a pass away to another player who trailed him through. And that could be Gerard, Russell it is. Plays it just inside Ashford's quarter. Lewis will put the kick in. Looks for a touch, but it's going to be too big out and out of touch on the full. And the scrum will pack down 17 metres away from the Ashford line. 0-0 in this game. As we see a change in the Bingra side, Wayne Rampling's gone back to fullback, and Charlie Wilson, the fullback, has come up into the centres. It's a scrum win to Bingra, but the referee wants it back in again. That could be because Robert Boney in the centres is playing very havoc at the moment with Ashford. Charlie Wilson's more a player who can counteract Boney's brilliance. That's why he's being brought up. Now we see a penalty going to Ashford. This is a differential penalty, of course. Wilson, the fullback, or centre that he is now, will take the kick for touch on the far side of the field, the eastern side, and will find touch too. He's found touch about 6-7 metres away from the Ashford line. So this is a real chance for Bingra to put points on the board. Ball comes out to Rampling, a pass goes away now to Wilson, the 5'8", but a beautiful tackle from fullback Derek Clark brings him down. They work this side, Bingra again, as Charlie Wilson goes to throw it inside, tries to step around one tackle, he does, but knocked over by centre Lewis, still a few metres short of Ashford's line. There's a big gap from the Ashford team right under the uprights. Goodwin, a long pass out to Wilson, the 5'8", knocks it on too, picked up in front of him by Lanigan, and the referee's got him. Lanigan was in front of the player who knocked the ball on, and the penalty goes to Ashford, midway between their half, between their quarter and their try line. And this will be a relieving penalty for the Roosters. Of course, the Ashford first grade was eliminated last Sunday from the competition, and all hopes for the Ashford supporters rest on this reserve grade, which finished minor premiers this year. Tap taken by Russell Gerard as he gives it to Pinnis, the second round. He runs straight into Childs again with the assistance of Hayes, and also second rower, the hooker Boyle. From dummy half, Russell Gerard decides to run himself. Nobody is running onto the ball, and he's down 30 metres away from Ashford's line. Ball played back, Gordon Boney acts as pivot, gets it away to Smith, the second round, loses the ball as he tries to unload it, kicked through by Norton. Now this could be a race for the ball, going back for it is McLaughlin, the winger for Bingra, picks it up too, but he's nearly a head-high tackle from Morton, but McLaughlin gets passed away to Rampling, and Rampling is down a few metres inside Ashford territory. Ball's played, Boyle, the hooker, gets a pass away to Hayes, the second row, running into the ruck, but gets to Robert Boney, and Robert Boney brings him down 5 metres in Ashford's territory. Ball's played, Boyle, and loads of pass away to Fletcher. Then it goes to Wilson, to Charlie Wilson, the fullback, his brother, gets it away to Goodwin, I think it is, and Goodwin's down right on halfway. Goodwin plays it, comes back now to Wilkins, the second row, runs straight into prop forward Miller, and 6 metres into Ashford territory, he's down. Negative tactics from Bingra at the moment. Now Wayne Rampling's up there, is it? Now Charlie Wilson puts the little kick in. Going back for the ball is Ring on this side. It's Gerard. Carl Gerard decides to step, runs straight from Wilson, and looks bites a bit of an opening. Gets around McLaughlin, still stepping as the winger. Gets a pass back to Russell Gerard, the hooker. He steps. They can all step, these fellows. Sunday finally goes down under a tackle from Fletcher and Wilkins. 13 metres inside Ashford territory. There's Lewis, buys a pass to Greg Boney, standing wide, the little halfback. Sends a pass back inside to Michael Boney. A pass, if he had thrown it, it would have been forward. He's knocked over just into Bingra's territory. Boney will play it Dummy half Smith gets it away to Lewis. A short pass to Gordon Boney, running into the ruck. Gets to Childs. Now he's allowed to stand. Gets back to Russell Gerard. He runs into the second row of Hayes and he's down. Still a few metres into Bingra territory. Now what they do with it comes to Lewis. Lewis decides to run himself. Steps around Wilson. Short pass to fullback Clark. Oh, he tries to juggle it. Knocked on. Still chasing the ball. If he regains it, referee has no option now but to call the ball back. These fellows are funny to watch, some of these players. And the scrum will pack down 10 metres into Bingra territory. Well, Ashford looking good. They're making the breaks, but the second phase players falling down when they're losing the ball. And Derek Clark, in fact, has dropped the ball a couple of times now. Now we'll have the scrum packing down 10-12 metres inside Bingra territory. As halfback Fletcher will feed it for the Bingra Bullets. Referee asking that the scrum break up. Now it reforms. 0-0 in this game in the reserve grade major semi-finals. It's a Bingra ball. Wilson is knocked over by Norton, who broke quickly from the scrum and forced him back a couple of metres. 30 metres away from Bingra's line. It's played, comes back to, who is it? There's a bit of a brawl on two between Norton and 5/8 Wilson as Fletcher the halfback's in there to try and separate them. Wilson hits him with the right to the head. They're at Sydney Stadium at the moment as Norton breaks up and says to Wayne Rampney, I'll have a go at you too, and Gordon Boney comes in and the referee's blowing the whistle now and set play up. That actually started when Mick Wilson grabbed Norton and held him as Norton tried to chase the ball carrier. Now the referee's issuing instructions to Mick Wilson, the 5/8. He's issuing instructions to both players. Now scrum will pack down, so that was silly play by Wilson really, because he was the offender initially, and instead of having possession for the 6 tackles, Bingra now go and contest it with the scrum packing down 10 metres inside the Bullets territory. Halfback Fletcher feeds it. It's coming out Ashford side. Boney picks it up the scrum base, but runs straight into Goodwin, the lock forward. 10 metres into Bingra's territory. Boney gets up and plays it, running from dummy half as Norton steps around Goodwin, but runs into Childs, who come like a bullet from the blind side and brings him down. And the referee's got somebody here. Bingra players for not getting off the Ashford man with the ball, and the penalty goes to Ashford. 13 metres inside Bingra territory. So the kick to be taken by David Lewis, the centre. He'll kick for touch on the far side of the field. The crowd building up out here at Tingha. We're ready for what should be a fantastic first grade match between Tingha and Bingra. But of course this one's far from over. 0-0. Pinnis, the second row, runs hard in the ruck, gets out of Fletcher's poor tackle and is brought down 17 metres away from the Bingra line. Pinnis up and plays it. Russell Gerard gives it away to 5/8 Michael Boney, who works blindside. Then given to Gordon Boney, the prop forward. He gets out of one tackle, still stands, gives it away to Michael Boney. Now they're setting the backs in motion. Coming from the far side, Gerard, short pass to halfback Boney. He run into Wilson, and they carried him back actually. Picked him up and bodily carried him back. Boney plays it. It comes back to Michael Boney. Then it goes to Lewis, the centre. Throws a pass back inside to second row Smith, and Smith's down. A few metres inside the quarter. Now Norton, the lock forward, runs himself, but is nicely tackled. 15 metres away from the Bingra line. Taken there in a tackle by Childs. Ball comes back to 5/8 Michael Boney. Puts the big kick in there, chasing through, but it's going to be too deep over the dead ball line. And the tap will be taken by the Bingra side from the centre of their quarter line. So it's 0-0 at the moment in this reserve grade match. As we see Bingra under pressure. But they have the advantage of taking the tap from the centre of the halfway line. Boyle, it is the hooker, will take the tap. Taken by Boyle, the hooker, and he runs into the defence and is brought down by the second rower, Pittis. Ball's played, goes away to Hayes, the second rower, running wide, now straightens up and runs into Boney. And 10 metres inside Bingra's territory, he's down. Hayes, the second rower, gets up and plays it. Boyle, a dummy half, fires it away to Fletcher, gives the pass away to Wilkins. But only a few of these Bingra players are running and not very constructive at the moment. 8 metres into Bingra's territory, he's ordered to play it. Flanagan now, he's the man who runs straight, and he runs straight over the top of Greg Boney, and he's brought down a few metres inside Ashford territory. Childs a dummy half, working blindside. Boyle gets a pass away to Goodwin, missed by that player. Well picked up by Gordon Boney for Ashford. So the Ashford Roosters back in possession. Only plays it. It comes back away to Gerard, Russell Gerard, the hooker. And there's a bit of trouble on here. Getting pretty lively as Russell Gerard gets up and pushes Wayne Rampling out of the way. Now penalty goes to Bingra as Russell Gerard goes down injured. Rampling said, "What on earth did I do to you?" And the penalty goes to Bingra, a few metres into Ashford territory. So we see Carl Gerard quite okay. In fact, it's Russell Gerard. And the referee What does the penalty go to Bingra? 5 metres into Ashford's territory. Wilson it is, kicks for touch and finds touch too. And the second kick will be taken 42 metres away from the Ashford line. We see player coming up. Fletcher takes the tap back to Hayes. The second row gets out of Russell Gerard's tackle but runs into Miller. A few willing tackles going in. There goes the linesman in with the flag raised now. There's a couple of players ran in. I think it was, who was it? Gerard. Could have been Gerard on the far side. Ian Gerard. There'll be a penalty issued here, no risk. Referee's calling out Ian Gerard, the far side, the winger. It was Hayes it was, who apparently copped something in that tackle we couldn't see from here. Now the referee's cautioned Gerard. Another penalty goes to Bingra. So this is silly play from Ashford. That's 2 consecutive penalties. Wilson kicks for touch and finds touch 21 metres away from the Ashford line. Bingra have the chance to score just before half-time, as half-time getting pretty close. Tap taken, comes out to Rampling, who acts as the pivot, fires it back infield as it's taken by Wilkins, the second rower, and he's knocked over in a tackle by Russell Gerard, 20 metres away from Ashford's line. He's played Boyle at dummy half. They work blindside Childs, and Childs is brought over in a nice tackle by Gerard, the hooker again. Ball's played, nice tackle of this Gerard as running across field as Hayes gets half out of Russell Gerard's tackle, finished off by Miller over the top, the prop forward for Ashford. Kicked through with 6 tackles to go. Going back to the ball is Fletcher, the halfback. He looks for support, drops a short pass into Wilson's lap, running across field, tries to run around Lewis, but he can't. And he's brought down right on the corner. Dummy half, Goodwin, fires a pass away to Wilson, takes it one hand, that's Charlie Wilson. Long pass out to Lennigan, and Lennigan's picked up. Good tackle by Gordon Boney, just inside the corner. Ball played. Wilkinson gets a pass away to Hayes, the second row, running wide, gets out of a couple of tackles, but finally knocked over in a tackle by Ian Gerard on the far side with the assistance of Gordon Boney. Hayes up and plays it. It comes through Fletcher. It goes to Lennigan, runs back into the ruck, tries to shrug off Michael Boney's tackle, but Boney flings him to the ground, 15 metres from Ashford's line. Lennigan plays it. It comes back to Fletcher. Then a pass goes away to Wilson. Pass comes out to Charlie Wilson. The short pass to Goodwin, the lock forward, but he straightens up and is brought over in a tackle about 17 metres out from Ashford's line. 5th tackle. Charlie Wilson, the fullback, will put the kick up, and he does put it up too. Shouldered after the tackle, but no worries. Taken by a Bingra player, and I think it could be Lennigan. And the scrum will pack a few metres away from the Ashford line for the 5th tackle. So scrum to pack down 5 metres away from the Ashford line. Halfback Greg Boney will feed the scrum for the Roosters. Score is 0-0. Ball's in, coming out Bingra's end. It's Fletcher, the halfback. He tries to sneak around the scrum base, but Norton, the lock forward, was awake up and held him there. They're working the back line now. Charlie Wilson gets a pass away to Vines, and Vines looks for support. Now passes back to Wilson, the fullback. He goes back towards the centre. Nice step on that player too, but he's brought down by Lewis, the centre. Wilson's ordered to play at 8 metres in front of the uprights. Now Bingra attacking. Running from dummy half, second row Wilkins, but he's wrapped up nicely by Russell Gerard, the hooker, a few metres short of the line. Hooker Boyle unloads from dummy half to Fletcher. Then a pass goes away to 5'8" Wilson. A pass goes away to Lennigan, running across field. A couple of Bingra players unmarked on the far side, but he couldn't move the ball. Asked to play at 10 metres out. Ball played, it goes to Wilson. Gets a short pass to Hayes. The second row, he's going very close to scoring. He's over to score. Yes, Michael Hayes has scored about 5 metres to the left of the uprights. He had Russell Gerard wrapped around him as he went over to score, but that's the first points of the game. And Bingra lead Ashford by 3 points to 0 with the kick to come. Well, we missed the kick, but Wayne Rampling didn't miss it. He put it straight between the uprights, and Bingra now lead Ashford 5 points to 0, very close to half-time. Now Ashford will recommence play from the halfway line. Lewis, the centre, kicks off. It's going down towards Goodwin, the lock forward, picked up by that player too. Now he runs into Ian Gerard on the far side. Right in the corner as the half-time fill goes the background. Goodwin plays it. Pass goes away to Boyle, the hooker. Tries to shrug off a tackle, but he's down just outside the corner. So at half-time here at the Tingha Sports Ground, Bingra lead Ashford by 5 to 0. For Bingra, the try has been scored by Mick Hayes just before half-time, converted by Wayne Rampling, and Ashford yet to register points. So at half-time, Bingra lead Ashford by 5 to 0. This video of the reserve grade match is brought to you with the compliments of Bill McCudden at the Commercial Hotel at Ashford. Now, don't forget that Bill and the gang down there will look after you whenever you're travelling through Ashford or maybe staying for a few hours. Go and see Bill at the Commercial Hotel, because he'll have a yarn, you'll have the open fire going, and, well, the drinks are first class. Don't forget the new dining room opened only a few months ago. It's going great guns down there, and you'll really remember it for a great time. Counter lunches 6 days a week. And keep in mind that entertainment's a regular fare at the Commercial Hotel at Ashford. Bill McCudden, certainly an entrepreneur in his own right, and always something happening at the Commercial Hotel Ashford. And they're proud, and we're proud to have them as a sponsor of this video of the reserve grade match today. Now we're in readiness for the second half of this reserve grade major semi-final. Ashford, of course, down 5-0 at the moment. They're the minor premiership winners. And it's 5-0 at the moment. Yeah, just hold them a minute. Try to get a break and play. Right. And we see a Bingra player tackle just outside his corner. Ball comes out to Lenigan. The replacement player runs into an Ashford player, Smith. Knocked over then as pass goes away to, could have been Goodwin. And Goodwin's down midway half and quarter. Pass comes away to, who is it? Wilkinson. Wilkins, the second rower. He's held up 10 metres into Bingra territory. Wilkins, the second rower, will play it. Dummy half is Childs, passes away to Fletcher, gives it to Wilson, went behind him though, goes back and picks it up, but the referee's ruled a knock on, and a scrum will pack down just outside the Bingra quarter line. Halfback Fletcher feeds the scrum for Bingra. It's coming out Ashford side, picked up by halfback Greg Boney. Looks for a bit of gap, gets a pass away to fullback Clark, goes to Gerard on the far side, and Gerard flying downfield, they won't catch him, and Gerard's going to race around and score for the Ashford side. He scored about 12 metres in from touch. Well, that was a quick comeback for the Ashford side. Ian Gerard, the try scorer, and that makes the score now 5 points to 3, 5-3 in favour of the Bingra side. A try scored by Ian Gerard for Ashford with the kick to come. So let's watch the attempted conversion from Robert Boney. He's taken the ball back just outside the corner. It's about 12 metres in from the touch on the far side of the field. This will make it 5-all if Boney can convert the try scored by Ian Gerard. Well, that was a quick comeback by the Ashford side, who were rocked by a try by Bingra just before half-time, and straight away after half-time they scored themselves. Let's watch Robert Boney's attempt. The wind is blowing this one from right to left. Right foot the ball, not a bad-looking kick, swinging towards. Yes, it's there! Nice kick by Boney. Robert Boney has kicked the goal. That makes the score 5 points all, and we've got a great game on our hands here at Tingha. Now, kick-off taken by Bingra. Score 5-all. Charlie Wilson kicks off. Knocked back by Russell Gerard. Goes back and retrieves it. Tries to be chased by McLaughlin. Gets out of McLaughlin's attempted tackle, but runs straight into Childs outside the quarter. Norton a dummy half. They work blind side. Smith, the second row, runs into Childs. They're doing a lot of tackling today, Childs. And Smith is brought down about 38 metres, 30 metres away from the Ashford line. There's Pinnis, the second row, as he doubles around and comes back towards the open. And it's brought down again by Childs. This time about 30 metres out from the Ashford line. From dummy half, ball comes to Gordon Boney, stands and delivers, gives it to Greg Boney. Around the player, goes to Michael Boney, but it goes behind Norton. Touched by Lewis, picked up in front of him by Norton, so a penalty goes to Bingra. And this is just to the left of the uprights and about 23 metres out. Wayne Rampling will attempt the penalty goal, which would put Bingra 2 points in front. Penalty goal by Wayne Rampling, the captain for Bingra. Just to the left of the uprights and 23 metres out. Not a difficult kick for Rampling. Right foot the ball, looks good from here. Yes, it's straight between the uprights. So now Bingra go to a lead of 7 points to 5. Bingra lead Tingha 7-5 in this reserve grade major semi-final. David Lewis, the centre, kicks off for Ashford, puts the ball deep down into Bingra territory. It's rolling back towards McLaughlin on the far side, taken by McLaughlin. Now he has the job of running up, gets out of Russell Gerard's tackle, runs into Smith, and falls to the ground about 26 metres away from the Bingra line. Play dummy half. There's the replacement player, Mark O'Neill, who's on for second row. Wayne Wilkins loses the ball, does O'Neill. Oh, Norton does a silly thing and kicks it back towards Bingra. It's gone back to the wing on the side. That's Vines, and Vines is knocked over in a heavy tackle. The referee's blown the whistle for a knock-on was made by Bingra, but Tommy Norton, what on earth did he kick for? He should have dived on that ball. Who's the player injured? It could be Robert Boney, the centre for Ashford. Now, Robert Boney's okay, or at least he's up on his feet again. He's coming back to his position. Scrum backs down, won by Ashford. Boney, Greg Boney, the halfback, tries to run from the scrum base, but he's labelled about 30 metres out from Bingra's line. At dummy half, Gordon Boney dummies the open, runs the blind, runs straight into the lock forward Goodwin. And he's held up Boney 30 metres out from Bingra's line. It's played. Russell Gerard gets a pass away to Smith, the second row, running wide, a long pass out to Ian Gerard, but this time they got his measure as McLaughlin and also Childs come through. Loses the ball too. And the referees penalise the Bingra players, McLaughlin and Childs, for raking the ball out. And a penalty goes to Ashford, 30 metres away from the Bingra line. And Lewis, the centre, goes across. He'll take the kick for touch on the eastern side of the field. The wind is blowing straight across from right to left. Kicks for touch, and will find touch too. That's a good kick by Lewis. In fact, he's taken play to within 10 metres of the Bingra line. So second kick to be taken by Russell Gerard. He takes it, gives it to Pinnis, the second row, who runs hard, runs across field there, runs into a tackle from Fletcher, the halfback. He's down about 6 metres short of the try line. Pinnis up and plays it. Dummy half Gerard, but he sits down as the Bingra defence comes through. Now Robert Boney asking the ball to be fed the back line as it comes to Norton. Pass away to Greg Boney. Then his short pass to Michael Boney. A long pass out to Robert Boney. Then a pass goes to Gerard the winger, but he's labelled by the centre on this side of the field. Or Wilkinson, in fact, the centre, who's now in the wing position. Lewis gets a pass away to prop forward Miller, and Miller tries to mop off a tackle, but he can't. Hayes, it is the second row who brings him down. Hayes could be injured too. Pass goes away to Gordon Boney, the prop forward. He runs in the ruck, gets out of Lannigan's tackle, gets out of a couple, in fact, and is picked off 10 metres short of Bingra's line on the fifth tackle. Ashford looking for points. Short pass goes to Greg Boney, but that had to be a 4-yard forward. Boney took the ball. He had to nearly wait for half an hour before the ball was passed to him. And the penalty goes to Bingra, 10 metres out from their own line, so chance lost there for Ashford. Charlie Wilson kicks for touch for Bingra, and more fine touch too, outside the quarter by 10 metres in fact. So it's 32 metres out from the quarter that the second tap to be taken by the Bingra side. Ashford side being asked to come back for 10 metres. Tap taken by halfback Fletcher, gets a short pass to Hayes, the second row. He runs into Miller, loses the second ball in the field in fact. Now waiting for the ball to go off. Looked like Hayes had lost it, but in fact it was the second ball kicked on by the ball boy. Now Bingra in possession. It comes back from Fletcher, goes to Lanigan, and Lanigan not quite as forceful at the moment as he was early in the game, but he's held up 5 metres short of halfway. The work the blind side. Boyle away to O'Neill, the replacement player. Replace Wilkins. Stands, gets a pass back to Boyle, who come around him. Boyle's down a metre short of halfway. O'Neill with the heavily strapped both knees, in fact, comes out now as the ball goes out to Rampling, the centre, gets over halfway, gets out of one tackle, but Gerard trailed him through. That's the hooker, but the assistance is Smith underneath, and they combine to hold him 5 metres into Ashford territory. Ball from Fletcher goes to Wilson, puts a little kick up, and Charlie Wilson is flying through for Bingra, but it's well taken by Robert Boney. Gets out of all, throws the ball back anywhere. Dangerous play, picked up by fullback Derek Clark. He tries to step around Vines, gets around from Vines, gets around Wilson. Vines following across, and he grabs Clark right on the corner line. Ashford, very adventurous side, but gee whiz, they throw some dangerous passes. Ball comes back now to second row Smith, running across field, runs into Goodwin, and second row Hayes, and he's down on the quarter. Bingra leading 7 points to 5. Ball's played Pinnis at dummy half. Away it goes to Lewis. A short pass away to Michael Boney, the 5'8", the long pass to Ian Gerard, the winger, and he's flying up the touchline, but the referee's calling back for a forward pass. Referee's got him back for a forward pass, and this time it wasn't an intentional forward, and the scrum will pack down about 12 metres inside Ashford territory. When he got them for a few forward passes. Scrum packs down 12 metres inside Ashford territory. Greg Boney feeds it, it's coming out Ashford side. Dived on by Boney at the scrum base, and he's sat on by his opposite number, Fletcher. So Ashford in possession. Norton the lock forward, runs across field now tries to straighten up, gets around O'Neill's tackle, and it's brought down 5 metres inside the Ashford territory by the hooker Boyle. Dummy half is Michael Boney, gets it away to Miller, then he sends a nice pass away, picked up around the bootlaces though by Lewis as he tries to shape the pass. Now loses the ball, picked up by a Bingra player, Rampling it is, and Bingra in possession, 10 metres in Ashford territory. So Ashford certainly spilling some ball. Comes back to O'Neill, the replacement player, runs into Miller, and Miller wraps him up, 13 metres inside Ashford territory. It's played a dummy half. Boyle gets a pass away to Hayes, the second rower, runs into Miller, gets out of his tackle, and throws the ball back to Childs, and Childs runs into trouble in the shape of Pinnis and Lewis and Gordon Boney there too. Midway half and quarter, Bingra right away as it comes to 5'8" Wilson. Then it goes to Rampling, looks for support to Goodwin, the lock forward standing out, and he's taken in a nice tackle by Michael Boney in the centre of the field. There's Lanigan, the replacement player, runs hard, gets over the corner, gets out of the tackle from Miller, still going, 15 metres short of the line. He's brought down, taken from behind by Smith and Miller. Fifth tackle on the Bingra side. Good run by Lanigan. Ball played. Goodwin, the lock forward, runs from dummy half. Looks to go very close to scoring, but he's picked up a few metres short of the line. That's where the scrum will pack down. An intruder on the field at the moment. Very hard to see. Probably the smallest dog in the world, picked up by linesman McMurray, who asks who owns it. Now the scrum packing down about 10 metres away from the Ashford line. 7-5 Bingra lead this game. It's gone in one by Ashford, but the referee wants it back in again. Ball's to be fed in. It comes out whose side? Ashford side, but the referee wants it back in again. So we'll have a third attempt to get a result from this scrum. Ball's in, it comes out Ashford side. Picked up by, who is it? Halfback Boney could be. Or could be even the 5'8" Boney. And Michael Boney it is. tackle. Ball goes. Norton, the lock forward, runs, tries to straighten up, but runs into trouble. Still 10 metres from Ashford line. Russell Gerard at dummy half gives it back to Pinnis, who comes back to the open side after believing he wanted to go the blind originally. But again, Childs it is, who's got Pinnis's number. 15 metres out from the try line. Ball comes back to Gordon Boney, who puts the kick in, going back straight towards Charlie Wilson, who takes it well just inside his the Ashford territory. Now runs upfield, runs into Russell Gerard, the hooker, who followed that kick through. And Wilson's down outside the corner. Tried to be kicked through on the dummy half, but the referee says play on as Lanigan runs over the corner before he's held up by Norton. And another player there, an Ashford player in there, was the second row of Pinnis. Played at dummy half. Childs pass away to Wilson, running across field, goes to shape to pass. Now he set up his players, but knocked on by a Bingra player, knocked on by an Ashford player, Michael Boney. Scrum packs down just inside the corner on the Ashford end of the field. The game's become a bit scrappy in the last 10 minutes or so. Bingra still lead the match 7-5 as the scrum packs down just inside the corner. The winner, of course, goes straight to the grand final. The loser plays the winner of tomorrow's semi-final match between the Bandara and Tingha sides. As from the scrum, it's won by Ashford, comes out to 5/8 Michael Boney, who went without it, but he dived back on the ball and the referee says play on. Greg Boney at dummy half, fires a pass away to Lewis. Lewis decides to come back in towards the centre, and he runs into trouble. Still inside the corner. Ashford, some of these players appear disinterested, really. There's Pinnis, the second row, hasn't stopped trying all day. Now he runs over the corner before he's knocked in over in a tackle by Wayne Rampling. And he's hurt too, Pinnis. Slowly to his feet. Plays it. Russell Gerard at dummy half. Gets it away to Lewis. And a pass goes away to Smith, the second rower. And Smith goes only a couple of metres before he's knocked over in a tackle by O'Neill, the replacement player with Goodwin. 30 metres from Ashford's line. Ashford really going nowhere. Comes back to Michael Boney, the 5/8, but he's wrapped up by second rower Hayes right on the corner. In disarray at the moment, the Ashford team. They're down 7-5. Gordon Boney, the prop, decides to run straight up the centre. Looks for sport, gets to Michael Boney, shrugs out of a tackle, but is finally held there by Boyle, who clings to him. And the scrum packs down about 30 metres away from the Ashford line. Well, Ashford really looking in disarray at the moment. They're down 7-5. Plenty of time to get back to the lead. Now it's a Bingra ball from the scrum as Wilson unloads to Rampling there, standing still the Bingra backline. Rampling decides to try and run, and he gets to Michael Boney, but Boney clings to his arm and brings Rampling down 30 metres out from the Ashford line, but right in front of the uprights. Ball's played a dummy half. Fletcher gets a pass away to Lanigan. Lanigan runs into Gerard, gets out of Gerard's tackle, runs into the middle of the prop, and Miller it is who holds him 23 metres out from Ashford's line. Lanigan is who plays it. Running from dummy half is Boyle the hooker, but he's wrapped up by his opposite number, Gerard, right on the corner. Still in Ashford's end. Fletcher half, looks for support, gets it away to Wilson. He shapes a pass and gets it away to O'Neill, to the second rower Hayes indeed. And Hayes has brought down 17 metres in front of the uprights on the Ashford end of the field. Ball goes to Wilson, they're working the far side. He calls one player, then shrugs a long pass out to the William McLaughlin. And McLaughlin's down 15 metres from Ashford's line. 7-5, fifth tackle as Bingra lead this match. There's Rampling, the centre, runs himself, runs straight through a couple of players, runs into Norton, shrugs off Norton's tackle, but the Ashford defence come at him at the last moment and brought him down a few metres short. And the scrum packs down, in fact, 5 metres, 10 metres away from the Ashford line. So score remains 7-5 in favour of Bingra. Bingra finished second in the minor premiership this year. Ashford, of course, won the minor premiership. Now ball's in, it's won by Fletcher at the scrum base, and he's wrapped up beautifully around the legs by halfback Greg Boney. So ball will be played. It's played running from dummy half as Wilson, the fullback, is running towards the line, but he's knocked over in a tackle by Norton with the assistance of Gerard. They pull him back a few metres too. Seeking a second penalty, but he wants to get up and play it. He does. It's played, comes out to Wilson, the 5/8. He'll try and get around the defence, but he can't. And he's held up 6 metres short. Ball running from dummy half. O'Neill, the replacement player. He looks for a gap, and the gap quickly closes. The Ashford defence come charging through and drag him right across field. 15 metres across field, they drag him. Good work by the Ashford players. They've taken him back 10 metres downfield. He's no small lad either, this O'Neill. Played, working the blind side. Hayes, the second row, runs into the Ashford defence, and the defence converge, and the Bingra defence, the Bingra players try and push him over the line. Dummy half, O'Neill picks it up at dummy half. The Ashford defence quickly through. And after a bit of a mess, we'll have a scrum about 5 metres, 6 metres away from the Ashford line. So Bingra still lead the match, 7-5. Ball's to be fed in by the halfback, Boney. It's come out Bingra's end, but Fletcher has been asked to bring the ball back and have it putting in again by Boney. Ball's in. It's not in. Boney standing there waiting to feed the scrum. Now he's fed it. It's coming out whose side? Ashford side. Dived on by Boney at the scrum base for Ashford. I want to do something quick to get out of this danger zone. Running from dummy half is the prop forward, is it Miller? And it is. And he's dragged down 15 metres away from his own line. Ball's played. It comes out to, who is it? Norton, the lock forward. And Norton runs back into the forwards. Knocked over by Fletcher with the assistance of McLaughlin. Ball's played. It comes back to Pinnis, the second rower. He runs hard. Gets out of Goodwin's tackle, but trailed across field by Goodwin. With the assistance of second rower, Michael Hayes brings him down. Ball's played, comes back to Michael Boney. He steps and goes back towards the ruck. Now puts the kick in. But they're kicking straight to Charlie Wilson, the fullback. He is safe as a rock. He runs over halfway, steps and gets around Clark. Pushes off Russell Gerard as if he wasn't there. Gets over the corner. Good run by Wilson, the fullback. He's brought down 20 metres away from the Ashford line. Hurt too is the fullback Wilson. Now we see Bingra in possession. The ball's been lost and offside is the winger McLaughlin, who picked it up in front of Lanigan, who dropped the ball. Charlie Wilson, by the way, is quite okay. And the penalty's gone to Ashford. When I say Wilson's okay, he's still on the field. He's going back very slowly to his position after being hurt in the tackle. Now Ashford, with the boot of Lewis, will try and get out of danger zone. They do. And the second tap by Ashford will be taken 5 metres inside Ashford territory. But it's noticeable that even now some of the Ashford players aren't very interested. Now the referee's got Bingra for being inside the 10 metres. On that tat, so second penalty goes to Ashford. Here's their chance to really push Bingra back downfield, back into their own quarter. And David Lewis, the centre, comes across and he decides he'll kick for touch again. Lewis, it is, the centre, puts the boot to the ball and will find touch too. Good kick by Lewis. In fact, he's taken play to within 15 metres of the Bingra Bullets line. So here's a chance for Ashford to score and hit the front in this match. Down 7-5 at the moment. But the way fortunes have been fluctuating, anybody's game. Russell Gerard, the hooker, takes it. Now gives it to Pinnis, the second rower, who takes it well and runs straight into Lanigan's top tackle, 15 metres from Bingra's line. Pinnis plays it. Gerard at dummy half to Boney. Boney knocked over. The ball goes anywhere. Picked up by Ian Gerard on the far side. And he's brought down 20 metres away from Bingra's line. Ian Gerard plays it. Prop forward Miller gets a pass away from dummy half to Smith, but he runs crabwise across field, and he's easy meat for the Bingra defence, who come through. That was Boyle and O'Neill. Not much constructive play. Now Gerard called it a dummy half, but managed to get his pass away to Michael Boney, then to David Lewis. He runs himself, gets to the corner before he's tackled, and they're losing ground, Ashford, each time they handle the ball. Michael Boney gets it away to Robert Boney. Robert Boney decides to run, gets out of Childs, skins a terrible pass, picked up by a Bingra player. Vines it is, and Vines is picked up by Robert Boney, who tries to drop him. Ordered to play the ball, kick through on the play of the ball. Wilson, the fullback, almost runs around his own man. Referee says play on as he runs across field. Wilson runs to Greg Boney, gets a pass away to Lanigan standing wide. He comes back into the centre of the field, and he's held up on the quarter. Taken there in a tackle by the second row Smith. Lanigan plays it, a dummy half as O'Neill, fires it away then to Wilson, the 5/8 dummies. Comes back in towards the centre, but runs into Smith, the second row, and he's down on the quarter. Wilson will play the ball, plays it. Ball comes from Fletcher to O'Neill. O'Neill running across field now, runs straight into problem zone in the shape of Gordon Boney. Michael Boney, and also another Boney I think could have been there too. It was Robert Boney. Outside the quarter, midway half and quarter now. Wayne Rampling spots a bit of a gap, but it quickly closes. He runs into a tackle from the player who was Michael Boney. Wayne Rampling up and plays it. Ball comes back to Wilson, the fullback, is standing up. He looks for touch and kicks for touch and is going to beat Ian Gerard over the touchline too. Found touch 5 metres into the Ashford territory. One of those bounces that no person in this world can stop. The ball bounces on the ground, that gets to you and goes straight over your head. So the scrum packs down 5 metres in Ashford territory. As the ball's fed in, it's coming out Bingra side. Picked up with the scrum base by Fletcher, the halfback. And Fletcher's down 8 metres inside Ashford territory. 7-5 the Bullets lead. They'll be content to try and gradually work play deep into Ashford territory. Dummy half now, fires a pass away to Lanigan, and he's had a strong game since he came on only about 10 minutes into the game. He came on as a replacement for the centre for the prop for Wilkinson. Now there goes Hayes, but he's caught it in a high tackle. The referee's got somebody here. Norton, the lock forward it is, who's been caught. Referee's penalised Norton, and penalty goes to Bingra. Now I thought Wayne Rampling might have had an attempted penalty from here, but Charlie Wilson it is who's coming across and will kick for touch to try and put pressure on, but well taken by Russell Gerard. Well, in fact, touched by Russell Gerard. So the scrum packs down 18 metres away from Ashford line. So Wilson probably blundered there by not kicking the ball a bit higher. Russell Gerard has managed to leap into the air and touch it. Now the ball's in, it's coming out whose side? It's coming out Ashford side, picked up by an Ashford player. Norton, I think it was, the lock forward, and he's knocked over 15 metres out from his own line. plays it forward, runs himself, now runs, only goes about 4 yards before he runs into prop forward Childs for Bingra. It's played, running from dummy half is Gordon Boney. He makes another 5 or 6 yards before the defence converge. He's standing but can't get the ball away. Referee orders him to play it. Outside his quarter, there's Russell Gerard, only to Greg Boney. Sloppy pass, picked up by Boney, and Boney's picked up in the turn by 5/8 Wilson for Bingra. So Boney inside his quarter. Ashford don't look at this stage as they're playing well enough to get out of trouble. There's a little kick put through. Ball racing back, taken by the centre. Well taken by Wilkinson. Gets out of one tackle, flying downfield, runs into Miller. And Miller it is, and another player come across and holding 30 metres away from Ashford's line. Ball played, running from the dummy half position is Vines. He spotted a bit of a gap, running into Michael Boney, and Boney comes across and brings him down. Pinners it was, in fact, a few metres inside the quarter on the Ashford end of the field. Vines plays it, goes to Wilson. He shows the ball, gives it back inside to Lanigan, who runs straight up the centre of the ruck, gets out of one tackle, gets out of another, looking for support, gets out of the fullback's tackle and scored next to the uprights. Lanigan's run straight through the Ashford team to score next to the uprights. That makes the score 10 points to 5 with the kick to come. Let's watch Wayne Rampling's attempted conversion of the try scored by Lanigan just to the left of the uprights and 20 metres out. Right foot the ball, no trouble for Wayne Rampling, and now Bingra race away and lead this match by 12-5, and Ashford really face an uphill battle to try and save this match. Kick-off taken by Lewis, the centre for Ashford. Going back through O'Neill's legs. Picked up, in fact, by the lock forward Goulburn. And Goulburn's down about 25 metres away from the Bingra line. Running from dummy half is O'Neill now. And he's knocked over in a tackle by Russell Gerard. 12-5, and Ashford will need to lift their game if they're to salvage this match. Bingra at this stage are heading straight for the grand final. Knocked over in a tackle is another Bingra player. That was Lanigan, the try scorer. He'll play it outside his quarter, comes back, Posh goes away to Fletcher, then it goes away to Wilson, running across field, goes straight behind. Rampling could have been got for a Shepherd, but the ball comes out on this side to Wilkinson, flying downfield, but a nice tackle from Boney, puts his foot over the touchline, a few metres into Bingra territory, and that's where the scrum will pack down. Robert Boney, in fact, is injured. Gets slowly to his feet, go back to his position. Score is 12 points to 5 in favour of Bingra at the moment. And the minor premiers are heading for defeat. Ball's in, it's coming out to Bingra's side. Play on says no, the referee says knock on both ways. Scrubbing it back down again. Ball's in, comes out Ashford side. Play on says the referees. Boney fires away to Robert Boney, and he almost goes straight through, but Mick Wilson followed him and collared him 8 metres into Bingra territory. Lewis at dummy half, passes away to 5/8 Michael Boney. He runs crabwise, now gets a pass away to Les Miller, who trailed him through, and Miller's down 32 metres out from Bingra's line. Derek Clark at dummy half, gets a pass away to 5/8 Michael Boney. A pass goes back inside to another player, and he's down still 32 metres away from the Bingra line. Was Pinnis, the second rower, gets up and plays it. It's passed out now to Gordon Boney. Hey, listen, when's your presentation night? From the resultant play, where penalty goes to Ashford just inside the quarter. Score at the moment is 12-5 and 6 minutes to go in this match. So Ashford have to score 7 points to draw, or 8 points to win in 6 minutes. Pretty big task, but they're right into the ground to start doing it. Gerard, the hooker, takes the tap, sends a pass away to second row Smith, who hasn't really had a strong game today, and he's still up a few metres short, 5 metres short of the Bingra line. Ball played back, Gerard gets a pass away to Gordon Boney, then to Greg Boney. A pass goes away to Lewis, and it goes to Robert Boney, the centre. He spotted the gap, pass goes away to Clark, the fullback, and he's on his way to score. Derek Clark has scored a few metres in from touch on this side of the field as a back line was used there. And whenever they've used their back line, they've looked good, Ashford, but too many times the ball has been swung into the forwards. And the score at the moment favours Bingra by 12 points to 8 with the kick to come. Now let's watch the attempted conversion of the try scored by Derek Clark. Robert Boney it is, who'll attempt the conversion 10 metres in from this touchline. We're right behind this one, so we've got a good view of it. 12-8's the score. Right foot the ball looks good, swinging across, no goal, it's in front of the uprights, and so Bingra lead the match 12 points to 8. So to win the game, Ashford will have to score a converted try. They've got about 4 minutes to do so. 4 minutes to do so, they're down 12 points to 8. Now let's see Bingra recommence play. About 4 minutes to go as Wilson kicks off. The ball's going down towards Pinnis. The second rower goes over his head. Picked up by Gerard, the winger. Now he throws a pass infield. Taken by Smith, the second rower. And the Bingra defence quickly up on Smith. And he's down 20 metres away from the Ashford line. Down 12-8 the Roosters. Ball goes back. It comes out to the second rower. Pinnis running across field, and he's brought down 200 metres inside the Bingra quarter. A few minutes left. As pass comes out to Greg Boney, and they move the back line now as Lewis gets a short pass away to Robert Boney. Boney steps around Wilson, but Wilson's got him. Pass goes back to Lockford Norton, who loses the ball. And the scrum backs down a few metres inside the Ashford quarter line. A time running out for the Roosters. They're down 12-8. Ball's in. It's coming out Ashford side. Picked up by Boney, but the referee wants it back in again. Ball came straight up the same channel. Ball's fed in this time. It's coming out ball Bingra's end, but the referee not happy with the scrum. Screwing around a bit. Now it's settled. Ball's in. It's come straight out to Bingra side. Good heel by the Bingra side as Wilson, the 5'8", runs across hill. Now he steps, comes back in towards the forward. Doesn't know where he's going. Runs into Pinnis as the scrum was breaking up. And Pinnis thought, well, this is easy. I'll drop him, and he did. 20 metres out from the Ashford line. And now, in fact, there's an injury, I think, is there? Play on, says the referee now, as Boney's all right. It goes to Hayes, the second row. Runs into Carl Gerard on the side of the field, and he's brought down 10 metres inside the Ashford quarter. Only about 2 minutes left now as Bingra lead 12-8. There goes Mark O'Neill, the replacement player, and he's made a few yards. Brought down midway between the quarter and the try line. At the centre of the field, ball's played. There's Wilson trying to get the back line moving. Goes to Rampling, gets a pass away, beautifully picked up by a play on the far side. Hard to see, it could have been who was it? Vines it was. Now pass goes back to Fletcher. Pass goes to O'Neill, running across field, but a beautiful tackle around the legs by Greg Boney. Nice tackle by that player. As Miller, the prop forward, is down injured for Ashford. Fifth tackle on Bingra. Field goal attempt from Wilson, and he puts it through. Yes, it's between the uprights, and Bingra lead by 13-8. So if Ashford had to score a converted try, it would draw the game, and we'd had extra time. 13-8 in favour of Bingra. Field goal there to Charlie Wilson. Now Ashford recommence play from the centre of the halfway line, but frankly some of their players look completely disinterested. Ball goes behind O'Neill. O'Neill runs over his quarter now, runs into Norton. Norton tackles him. A nice tackle just outside the quarter. Score is 13 points to 8. Bingra will be content to play out time now. Ball goes away to Childs, the prop forward, running across hill, pushes off Norton and runs into Smith. And Smith brings him down, midway half and quarter on the Bingra end of the field. Ball's played, comes back to Hayes, the second row, running across field, gets a short pass away to Lanigan, and Lanigan makes ground too, brought down 5 metres in Bingra's territory. Ball's played by Lanigan. It comes back to Wilson, who reverses play back the far side, and Rampling puts the kick through and is following it through. It's going towards touch, taken by Clark, the fullback, but he runs into McLaughlin, who followed the tackle through. Good tackle by the Bingra players, and Clark is forced to play it now outside his quarter. It's played, running there is Norton, the second row, but he only goes 2 metres before they drop him. They need something out of the box, the Ashford side. Down 13-8. Comes to Russell Gerard, the hooker, running across field. Runs into trouble, 12 metres in Ashford's side of halfway. Gordon Boney at dummy half. Gets it away to Greg Boney. Then a pass goes away to Lewis. Short pass to Robert Boney, the centre. And he spotted the gap. He's got plenty of pace. Flying over halfway, but taken by Wilkinson from behind. 12 metres into Bingra territory. Good move by Boney. Now they're on the move as pass goes to Lewis, but there's nobody close enough. Now he's still standing and knocked over. Ball goes behind him. Referee has blown the whistle though. He lost the ball. And the scrum will pack down 8 metres inside Bingra's territory. And there's the full-time bell in the background, and Bingra reserve grade go into the grand final. Bingra reserve grade go into the grand final, winning this match by 13 points to 8. For Bingra, tries have been scored by Mick Hayes and Mark Lanigan. 3 goals by Wayne Rampling and a field goal to Charlie Wilson. For the Ashford side, 2 tries, 1 to Derek Clark, 1 to Ian Gerard, and a goal to Robert Boney. So full time in the reserve grade, 13 to 8 in favour of